All right, I thought I was done having to make these videos, but apparently not. So, it's come to my attention. I don't know if it was through the algorithm just because I'm a fan of Cyelee or what, but Regular Guy Training recently put out a video about the Cyelee Bull Pro X, whatever it is, the giant dot, like this one here. Let's get some more light on that, but giant meme dot like that one there. I think his is the newer one though with the multi-reticle if I recall. But basically in the video he just trashed Cyelee, and he basically said that anyone who has promoted Cyelee or is involved with Cyelee is an outright liar. And if you've been a follower of my channel or you've seen my Cyelee videos, for the most part, I've had a favorable experience with him. My personal experience has been pretty good. I think what we need to do is talk about the troubling behavior of these YouTubers. And he'll pretend that, like, hey, the YouTube is nothing. I don't do it. I'm more of just a training guy, and I get it. He does train and he runs courses. I think what's different about his video is what it shows his lack of understanding on just things in general. So he doesn't understand statistics, and he discounts all other people's opinions. So he comes across as very arrogant. I mean, in like all things. On his Cyelee video, he's like, these things were trash, just like I thought they were. And he's got a sample size of 1. And he said he's seen a few in his classes, but if you go online and you've seen people who have a bigger following than his necessarily that are trustworthy, people like Reno May, or even if you want to dig deeper and see Mike Pannone, who's out there shooting matches, he's out there training, he's teaching courses. He might even be teaching more courses than Regular Guy Training. He's using Cyelee as well. And Mike don't mess around. Like, he talks about his personal experience. Whereas what Regular Guy Training does, and this is the problematic part of his channel, is he takes a sample size of 1 and he makes this broad generalizing, statement about all Cyelee products. Because he had one that was a lemon. I've had Holosuns that have been lemons. I still think Holosun's a great brand. I've seen people with all sorts of lemons on all sorts of product. Daniel Defense has had a few lemon guns out there. BCM has had a few lemon guns out there. All this stuff like that. But I don't discount the entire brand because I've seen a few lemons. What I do is I go and I watch a multitude of videos, look at a bunch of reviews, and do my own math to determine, one, is there a big public outpour of negative items that are not related to a personal experience? And if so, then the product probably has issues. Case in point, the SIG 320. So the first time you hear one went off, you're like, oh, okay, it's probably the user. But then you kept hearing about it, and you kept hearing about it, and you kept hearing about it. And you kept seeing more and more channels discuss it. And at that point, people took note and said, like, look, this is a trend. What isn't a common trend, though, is that Cylees are trash. Regular Guy Training is just trying to say that because of, trying to posture up or look tough on the internet or something like that. He never really goes into his background all that much. He talks about like shooting matches and stuff. I don't know if he's like an M class or a grandmaster or things like that. I know that Humble Marksman actually gets out there and shoots. Mike Pannone shoots matches. And all these people have had decent experiences with Cyelee. Regular Guy Training seems to think that everyone is just given these Cylees. And I'm sure some of the big channels are. But my relationship with Cyelee developed because I bought 6 of them right up front with my own cash. All the different models, things like that. And I did videos on them. And down the road, they reached out and they're like, hey, do you want to try these? Do you want this stuff? So there's been a few that they've sent me. And yes, I'm a Cyelee affiliate. I'll say that. But you want to know what? Half the sales in my affiliate this last month, half of my earnings have been because of my purchases. I bought another Cyelee Chameleon in red. I bought another Cyelee Chameleon in green. I bought another Cyelee Chameleon because the Cyelee Chameleon has worked really well with my astigmatism. And that's another thing that Regular Guy Training is trying to call bullshit on. But me and Reno and a few others have said, like, look, this is the clearest the dot has looked for us. I've tried the Vortex 8 MOA. It doesn't look as clear to me in my eyes as a Cyelee Chameleon does. It's a good dot, the Vortex is, for sure. But this looks better. That's why I'm buying them up on like every gun. And it's not like I'm buying them because I'm on a budget. I have more Langdons in that cabinet over there than Regular Guy Training has probably seen in the last year. Like, he just bought one. It's not a question of money. It's not a question of budget. It's a question of, I've had these dots for a while. They've performed very well in my personal experience for me. And they've been the best looking dots that I've experienced with my eyesight. Now, could I go out and get corrective lenses and suddenly all dots look great to me? Probably. I could probably do that. I should probably do that. I think Reno talked about that too. It's like, hey, if it's this much of a problem, maybe just get corrective lenses. Like, you can get shooting glasses and prescription lenses now. And I may do that. But Regular Guy Training, why I'm discounting his channel, I unsubscribed about a month ago, I would say, because of his kind of emotional outbursts with things. So he made a video kind of trashing Langdon after he got it because he experienced some issues with Langdon. And he's like, this customer service has been awful, all this stuff. And he reacted right away with a video to it. And I told him that my experience with Langdon wasn't anything like that, that they responded to me quick. I was in his Discord. And I told him that my experience with Langdon differed greatly than his. When I ordered my Langdon 92, I decided last minute, I was like, hey, I want to try that Volker Precision flat trigger. We exchanged emails back and forth within like an hour of me ordering, and they took care of it. I paid the extra upcharge for the trigger, and things are good. Communication has always been great with Langdon. He was saying, oh, they're not returning my emails, they're not reacting to me and all this stuff, and he made a video. Turns out it was his own email filter that was sending their emails to the trash. And sure, he made a video apologizing about that, but the damage was already done. If you watched the first video and you didn't watch the second one, Langdon's reputation took a little bit of a dive potentially because of his video. And it just shows that he makes these emotional reaction videos where he doesn't get to the conclusion or the outcome, and he just throws spaghetti and slop against the wall and trashes things without any concern about his own reputation or the brands that he's trashing. And I'll say within the last year, I've been watching his videos for a while now, and within the last year, his videos have kind of gone, I think, on a different approach, where I don't know if he's getting into rage bait or clickbait or trying to have these negative outcomes with things because it gets more clicks. But it seems like overall his videos recently have been more negative. The only good thing I can think of is the Beretta 94 A3 or A4, whichever one he shot. He's like, oh, I love this. I'm going to get a Langdon now. But that was after years of trashing the Beretta that he pulled the 180 on things. So I think he emotionally reacts to things. He also tries to be like just a smarmy, arrogant asshole on things and posture up with stuff. Like, his whole persona online is the regular guy, but then he treats all regular people like trash, it seems like. Like, he talks about, well, if you don't put it through my standards and you don't do my round counts and none of you are training, but only I'm training. It's like, that's not true. There's plenty of people that are out there training, and there's plenty of people that are getting high round counts, maybe even higher than you, on a lot of these products and having different experiences than you. If you're the only person having these experiences, it might be a you problem. Also, out of the YouTubers, if you're one of the only people that no one like wants to hang out with or wants to just, chat it up with, it might be a you problem too. You're kind of an asshole. Like, if you've been in his Discord, it's been abysmal. Like, there's barely any interaction in there. And he's got a lot bigger channel subscriber-wise than Focus Trip, which Focus Trip's Discord was, unfortunately, it was like just a happening place to be. There's a lot of people from a lot of different backgrounds talking about a lot of different things. Where in regular guy training, it's just like him shitting on stuff. And some people agree, and then if you don't agree, you're like an idiot. He treats his round count and his testing as like the end-all be-all when it isn't. It's his personal experience. He has a sample size of 1. He isn't out there buying 20 Cyelee Bull Pros and running all 20 of them through 10,000 round tests or anything like that. So when he says that his testing, even Trijicon, Aimpoint Acro, case in point, there's a lot of Aimpoint Acros that I've seen condensation on, that I've seen, shear off or have issues or break. But I don't discount Aimpoint. I think they're a pretty solid brand. I think the Acro maybe just had some issues. I think the Koa was probably going to be a great optic, even though it's no longer like available to civilians. I do think that I'm not the only one noticing this about Regular Guy Training's channel. Like, if you look at these views, you can see there's been a drastic drop-off in the last month or two as far as views. But you could see a big subscriber surge in the last few months where he's been kind of doing what I would consider rage bait or clickbait, or maybe it's just all the Beretta fans finally getting on board. You can see before that, his channel was kind of just growing at, what you would expect a steady rate. But his views recently have just like, and so maybe it's not just me noticing it, but I just wanted to come out here and say that not everyone who has a good or a positive experience with something that's budget is lying to you and trying to shill to you. It's their personal experience. And I don't think I should be the end-all be-all of, Cyelee either. I think you should look at a bunch of videos. And if there's a problem and you're noticing a bunch of videos that are dunking on it, and people are not having good experiences, then yeah, take that into account. Regular Guy Training and his smarmy, arrogant asshole self like brought this video out of me. He could have just been like Brass Facts channel or Hop's channel or something like that, where they talk about their personal experience and use cases for things and stuff like that. Instead, Regular Guy Training takes these single-use, sample size of 1, and he applies it to everything out there. And he does it in a way that he just comes across as a complete asshole. And maybe he is in real life. I don't know him. I don't even know his name. I've never seen him anywhere or anything like that. But I used to be a viewer of his. I used to be in his Discord. And I'm no longer in there because he just seemed like kind of a douchebag to me. And when the douchebag comes out on the internet and calls me a liar indirectly, I think I have kind of a right to respond. I didn't want to make any more of these videos like targeting people. I know I've done Trench Grenade and Yankee Marshall and stuff like that in the past. I think there's an epidemic of these YouTube channels where they're applying these generalizations. And if someone says like as a whole that this product sucks, and they don't say like my personal experience with it, discount their opinion. Also, I guess like, if you're coming across as like this king arrogant asshole and that you do the most comprehensive testing and that you train, these people and you're just a regular guy, maybe don't try to like lord over people. And you know what? What normal put together person has an about me on their website that looks like this? Like, this is just a wall of text that is like, I don't get why he did this about me, because it really doesn't say anything about him. It's just like, hey, I want to train civilians. And he could have wrote that in like 2 sentences, but instead he put a giant wall of text that I had to grit my teeth and get through because it was nearly unbearable with all the shade that he was throwing out at other trainers, other people in the industry, things like that. It seems like he just throws that out. And I don't want to throw that out, but when someone indirectly calls me a liar, I have to take note of that. I think we all have a right to defend ourselves. I think, focus trip and having, people come on and defend their stuff. Even like he had the debate with Tacticon Armament where he didn't do a great job debating him, but he brings light to situations where, a company should have personal responsibility, or a person should take some responsibility for things. And I mean, we've seen how Tacticon Armament is doing now. Not to get off topic, but I think regular guy training needs to take some personal responsibility for the sweeping accusations he makes. And if he just wants to continue being an asshole, let him do his thing. Even in his About Me, he says, if you're just here to hang out with the guy and get a picture, you're going to be disappointed. Like, no, people probably want to take your course, but they'd also want someone that they can talk to and be normal with, and that's not just yelling obscenities and trying to look like a hard ass online. You need to be approachable. And this guy is not approachable, I don't think, at all. He's like the male Karen. That's what I'm going to say. Like, you can, I think I am the regular guy, or maybe I'm the average guy. Maybe not by weight standards. And he'll probably say that I'm just some fat schlub who talks about gear and doesn't really try it or anything like that. I have the receipts on round counts. I can prove I shoot often. Maybe I don't do drills, or I haven't done as many drills as him. I'm just getting into competition because I want to, get that aspect of things in my video. But I'm your average guy. I'm an average person. I purchase things. I try things out. I've been disappointed by hypebeast stuff. I've been more than impressed with some of the budget options of things coming out there. He's been making these videos, but how come he hasn't, if training is his main concern, if training is his bread and butter, why hasn't he updated his training website? He has a Twitter logo on there, and it links to nothing. He doesn't have a Twitter account. So, he hasn't updated it. And if you go on Twitter and look at Regular Guy Training LLC, this is what comes up. I don't know if he was hacked or if this person's trying to impersonate him, but it's all about crypto, which, if you know my opinion on crypto, I think it's a scam, and I think it's fugazi. If you made money on it, congrats. It's kind of funny seeing this dude either impersonate or take over some sort of Twitter account and then just hawk crypto scams on it with things. So I guess Regular Guy Training, he needs to take an internal assessment, maybe look at himself and say, look, if I'm really serious about training these people, I should have, a website that is legible, easy to read, and has active links to things. That's just my 2 cents on things he can improve on. I can't take someone seriously on the training side of things if they don't invest in their business model, especially on simple things. It's just I can't take you seriously as a content creator. Consider yourself checked, Regular Guy Training. Thanks, everyone. Take care.
That's what you want, sir? Huh? I don't like shooting at people. I don't want to kill anybody. I just like scaring them, so I shoot right over their heads, way all clean over their heads. But as long as there's a big flame coming out of the gun and, you look mean enough, it's usually enough to scare the shit out of somebody.